Hey everyone! For today's video, I want to talk about Halo the Master Chief Collection and whether you should buy it this year if you're still on the fence. 2020 we saw a huge change to the Master Chief Collection. We saw a lot of updates, a lot of new content, and a lot of changes and fixes. A whole bunch of things happened in the Master Chief Collection for 2020, and I know a lot of people in the past were pretty skeptical of whether they should buy it once 343 had finished the work that they said they were going to put into the game. Now that we're on the better half of finishing this collection of the work that 343 wants to put in, I think it's pretty safe to say that this collection has improved tremendously. And I would say that this is not only the most requested and must-have game on the Xbox One, but that this should be something you should go out and buy if you have not yet. And I'll explain why in the video, but if the question is, should you buy the Master Chief Collection in 2020? I say yes, and here's why. First of all, let's talk about the updates and the new content for the Master Chief Collection. As we all know, the Master Chief Collection is finally on PC for the first time. I know this is something that people have been asking for about as long as I can even remember Halo being in anyone's mind. I think Halo has a natural progression to be on PC, and I really think that it being on PC does a lot for the franchise. This is going to introduce a lot of new players to Halo for the very first time, what better way to try out Halo than to get the whole Master Chief Collection, Halos 1 through 4, plus ODST and Reach, and experience the entire story of Halo. And that being said, yeah, they did add Reach this year into the MCC. They added that onto Xbox One. That also was what started the collection on PC. And Reach is really good at 60 frames per second with no motion blur and all the improvements that have been added to Halo Reach to make it really feel not like a old 360 game. And it's great. So currently, right now at the time of recording, what's on PC is Halo Reach, Halo 1 plus its anniversary mode, Halo 2 and its anniversary mode, and Halo 3. What we're waiting on still is Halo 3 ODST, which is the next release, and then they're going to finalize the collection with Halo 4. They're going in chronological order, which is pretty cool. ODST, they also announced, is going to be getting its firefight mode. So if you had ODST previously on Xbox, the firefight mode was absent. They only moved over the campaign into ODST. So now that we're getting the firefight mode for ODST, I think this is all the major game modes across all the games are now in this collection. We have Invasion from Reach, we have the Forge mode from Halo 2, Anniversary, Halo 3, and Reach, and 4 in there. We have Spartan Ops. Now we have Firefight for Reach and ODST. There's a lot of stuff in this package. They also said that ODST is going to be getting new options for Firefight, and they kind of tease this a little bit, but it looks like you can now use the battle rifle in ODST, which was notably absent in the game. And that's also going the other direction. ODST weapons are coming to Halo 3, like the silenced SMG. So it's all really cool stuff that they're adding to the game. And I think these small changes they don't need to do necessarily, but I think this is something that the community wants, and that's why they're adding it. Also coming soon to the Master Chief Collection is crossplay, and it's going to have what's called input-based matchmaking. So it's going to be crossplay between Steam, Windows 10, and Xbox One. But you're going to be, I'm assuming they're going to allow you to choose whether you want to do input-based matchmaking or not. And what that means is if I'm playing on mouse and keyboard, I'm only going to face other people playing on mouse and keyboard. Or if I'm only playing on controller, I only find people playing on controller. So that means people who are on PC playing with a controller can find people only on Xbox. They don't have to deal with the mouse and keyboard players on the other PC platforms. And speaking of mouse and keyboard, that support is coming to Xbox One. To be honest, I don't really know why. I don't think a lot of people even are aware that the Xbox One has mouse and keyboard support, let alone plug in an additional mouse and keyboard to their Xbox, because you, of course, need one for your PC. So that's going to really apply to a very small amount of people, but again, I think that's one of those things that they just want to do it because the community has asked for it. That's really the roadmap for new content in the Master Chief Collection. I can move now on to what's new, particularly with the quality of life improvements for the Master Chief Collection, things that really make you want to keep coming back and enjoying the game. What's new with this Halo 3 update is a challenge system, and this is very similar to the challenge system in Halo Reach, and this is where you'll get experience points and season unlocks. I'll get to season unlocks in a minute, but the experience points is what you use to level up your overall character, and these apply to everything. There's different sets of challenges that apply to campaign, to matchmaking, and to firefight. And they range from a whole bunch of things you can do to completing missions with friends, to one of them was taking out things that fly in Halo 3. I mean, it's all over the place, and it's great because this allows you to enjoy parts of the game that you want to keep coming back to, and then you get rewarded for doing that. And you get these, what's called tier unlocks, and Halo Master Chief Collection now has these seasons. It's very similar to a battle pass system. However, everything that you can unlock is free. You don't need to pay for a pro battle pass or anything to get additional content. It's all there. You just need to play the game to unlock it. And what I love about this is that I thought the seasons were a little bit too grindy in how long it took you to obtain these sorts of unlocks. But now with these challenges, it has really sped this process up. The way you get tier unlocks is pretty quick, to where I think the challenges may be a little OP on how much you unlock. But with these unlocks, they start off with Halo Reach. So if you've played Reach before like I have, they've pretty much just locked all of the armor sets and the firefight voices and other things here and there behind these tiers. And I was curious, what were they going to do after that? Because they're kind of playing, I guess, two games here with how you unlock stuff. On one hand, everything is unlocked for your character in Halo 3 and Halo 4. All of the armor sets are unlocked by default. But in Halo Reach, they're not. So you kind of have to work for the Halo Reach unlocks if you want them. But to answer the question is for Season 2, which came with the Halo 3 update, they are adding brand new content into Halo CE for the first time. And this is purely cosmetic things like weapon skins, changing the color of your visor, vehicle skins. This has never been done before in Halo 1 officially. You used to have to do it with mods. So to see this come to MCC is really cool. It looks like the next game to get this sort of a treatment looks to be Halo 3, I believe, coming in Season 3. So all of this stuff is really exciting, and this doesn't change how you play the game, but it does allow you to keep coming back, which is really cool. Finally, there's some smaller things MCC has done that is really mindful. For example, they fixed the audio problems in Halo Reach. To be honest, I never knew about it, but according to the internet, the audio system was not as good as it was on 360. That's finally now been fixed. You can also now choose what games you want installed to the MCC to save space. So let's say, I hate the campaign of Halo 1, for example. I will never play that. You can actually uninstall just the campaign of Halo 1 to save some space on your hard drive. This works for both PC and Xbox, by the way. And you can toggle on and off the multiplayer and campaign for each Halo game, which I thought was really cool. Or you can uninstall a Halo game entirely. If you just say, I hate Halo 4, I don't want it, you can just remove it entirely from your install to save some space on your hard drive. Finally, for Forge, they've expanded the Forge for an increased budget, so you can have more items in your Forge, which makes a lot of sense because these consoles and PC, of course, have a lot more RAM and processing power than the 360 did. And then they added new items, which I thought was really cool. So you can fly around in I believe it's called the Saber from Halo Reach, where you were flying around in outer space. And they're doing all sorts of these little small things that you just are like, wow, that's so cool. I'm really glad that they did that. By and large, it's a night and day difference between what the MCC was just 12 months ago to what it is now, to where I think that this is the best game on the Xbox One, and I really think that this is a must-buy and a must-play. It's on Game Pass for both Xbox and PC for you to try, so I highly recommend it. So there you go. That's really my explanation of why MCC is a must-buy, and answering the question, should you buy it in 2020, I give a absolute yes. I think that this is a great game, and maybe we'll see a increase in graphics or performance for the Series X, because Microsoft loves showcasing Halo on their consoles. We've always had the older Halo games follow us from console to console. I don't know if that's a coincidence or it's intentional, but Halo 1 has followed us all the way from the original Xbox into now what's going to be the Series X. So maybe we'll get some sort of increase in performance for the Series X. Time will tell. Let me know what your thoughts are on the MCC. Do you think it's one of the best comebacks in gaming? I think it is, at least in recent memory. This has been a real turnaround from the position it was in from a few years ago. If you want to know more about the Master Chief Collection and information about that game, I'm going to be covering that on the channel as that news is released, so keep that in mind. And join our Discord server. We have a ton of Halo fans in the server who would love to talk to you about Halo. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you, James.